Hi everybody, this is Tor Storley, and I am back with another video. In this video, we're going to take a look at how you can create a project using the new, in beta still, Microsoft.AI.Templates, and how they make it easy for you to get started on this. So we'll explore this in this video. In order for you to actually use this, you will need to do a couple of things. First of all, you need to go to .NET Microsoft.com and you need to download the .NET Framework 9.0. Now, there is a ASP.NET Core runtime here, and there's an SDK. I chose the SDK and I did it for Windows for x64 system. So that's the one I downloaded and installed. The second thing you need to do is you need to go to search for Microsoft.AI.Templates, and then you're going to end up on this page. And there's a blog post here, and you can see it's the devblogs.microsoft.com for .NET, announcing .NET AI Template Preview 1. What's coming next? Share your thoughts. So you want to go to this page, and this blog post, you should scan through this so you kind of get familiar with it. And there's a short little video here. There's also some other videos that are listed further down here. But what it is that they have created a new chat web app template, as you can see now in preview. So they do this so you can save a lot of coding on your own. Now, again, it's beta, and I just want to take a first look and then see how it behaves. So in order to actually get this template here, what you probably need to do, you should open a command window in your main directory, if you will. Let's put it that way. So let me see if I can find this and put up something here. And then you can simply open a command window right here in Windows. That is assuming you're in Windows. So CMD, hit enter. And once you do that, you will get a terminal window popping up like this. And you can run this command right here. So you run .NET new install Microsoft.Extensions.AI.Templates. And when you run that, I don't think anything will change when I run it because it's already installed. So as you can see here, it is showing up here. Another thing you can do is just to get some information about this, just run this help command inside that same window. So if I do this and I hit enter, you can see here it gives you all kinds of information about the templates. So make sure you take a look at that, and you can see it's targeting the 9.0 framework. So take a look at this. It will tell you some of the models that it's going to be able to give you. And the easiest way, for me at least, was to actually create a project in Visual Studio. And if you look at this blog post, that's kind of what he's talking about here. If you look, you can see you can open a new project in Visual Studio like this. And you can see it. Let me open mine so you can see what it looks like. So let me bring this over because I already worked on this. But if you're going to create a new project here, so let me go and which one is this? This is AI Chat. Okay. So basically what you will do now that you have installed all this, you will say new project, and it will show up like this. Now I have it in blue here. I hope it's visible for you. So it shows up like this. And what you can do is you can search. So type AI like this. And as you can see now, it finds the AI chat web app right here. So you can say next, and then you give it a name. So chat AP1 is fine with me. Say next. And when you get here now, make sure it sits at the .NET 9.0 standard library. And in this drop list, as you can see, depending which kind of model you want to run, there's GitHub models, there's Azure OpenAI models, there is Ollama for local development. So any one of these, it will scaffold out when you select one of these. So let's take a quick look at, I'm not going to create this one because I already have one created. But before we go on, let's go and actually take a look at what you can do with these GitHub models in case you're not familiar with it. Now I'm going to open up my GitHub page. So hold on. So here I am inside my GitHub. And if you go to Marketplace here, what happens is it's going to give you some featured Copilot models, apps, actions. One thing you can do is click on these models. And if you look at it, you can actually use these models to test your stuff against. So right now it's set at OpenAI GP 4.0, DeepSeek R1, Llama, and so forth. So you can select the model, and notice they have many models here. So if you want to just test it out very quickly, you could do that. Let's see if there's a, I don't know if, let's try the OpenAI GPT Mini. So let's see what it does. I don't know if this model is specific to this, but as you can see, it spits out a bunch of stuff here, and it gives an example. So if I scroll up here now, you can see it generates a table here, inserts records into it, and then it comes back with a SQL query, as you can see here. And if you look at it, you can see it has the partition by, dimension by, measure. So if you're familiar with my model clause video, you should recognize some of this stuff. If not, check out my model clause for Oracle video on my YouTube channel, that is. So as you can see, you can try this out. You can actually go and do this. Another thing you're going to need is to go into your account and go to settings. And once you're in settings, you want to go over to the left-hand side and go all the way down to developer settings. Choose developer settings, go to personal access tokens, and do a tokens classic. Create your new token, and that's the token you're going to be using in your application. Manage user secrets is one way you can do it. And then in this JSON file here, I'm not going to show you all of this, but you can see here, there's a little key value pair here, and you can name it, for example, GitHub models, token, and then you paste your GitHub token you just created in here. Okay, so that's how you do that part. Now, this project has a lot of files, as you can see. Some of the more important ones is going to be this data folder, where you can actually open up import all your PDF files if you want to create a searchable document folder like this. You can add more to it here. Another thing that is kind of important is this chat section. And the main page we're going to be using is this chat Razor page. So that's kind of where this app, which is basically written in Blazor, all this stuff is created for you. So in this chat Razor, there's only a couple of things you need to change here, depending which model you want to use. If you look at this here, you can see there's a list of the files that we have in our data folder. And you also have some additional information. You can also write a system prompt. So if you're not happy with the output and stuff, you can get more in detail about what you expect to find here and change this system prompt. So in here, a couple of things to recognize is the model that it's going to be using. So if I go to Program, CS, you can see here that it's using this embedding when it's spooled out the code for this. And also you can see that it's using the model it's going to be using is let me see if I can find it here. Oh, I see. Okay. I changed my code. So originally it was a hard-coded model in here, but I tried to be clever and see if I could dynamically change the model as needed. So what I did was I created a model drop-down list like this. So as you can see, if you go into this selected model service, there is a default model set up like this. Now, I haven't really had luck with the dynamically changing these models, but I haven't really looked at this very closely. So maybe I'll figure that out going forward. But as you can see here, this is the default model that is going to be using, the GPT-40 Mini. So that sits in this selected model service page. Okay, so if you go back to Chat Razor here and you see this is the code. So let's just I'm not going to dwell on the code because you can actually create your own code using these templates. The only thing I want to point out is that was also written in this article is that you can create your own functions like this. So this one I took directly from that page that we looked at with the blog post, and I just changed the words so I can see it working here. But if you look at it, there's a task here. So what we can do is we can put a breakpoint on this one. And then what we can do, once you add this task in, it's called get weather. A little further up here, as you can see, you can add that call to the output. So if you look inside this uninitialized function, you can see that this is the call to that get weather. So what that really means is that you can set up your own calls to outside APIs and get API information and use it within the search. So we can search outside this application and not just use that model, but can dynamically search the internet using web APIs. So that's something you should look into too. So right now I've fired it up and it's running. You can see here it spools out a bunch of stuff. So notice it has like a AI chat title here. You can start a new chat here. You can have information, and this is some additional stuff that I added in. And as you can see, the default is this model. I also added these in, but I can change it here, but it doesn't really change the model when I'm running it, I noticed. So as you can see here, you can type in the search, and these are the two files, the PDFs that were loaded. So let's try this out. Let me give you some predetermined queries that I made. So I'm going to search first within the survival kit. So what is the key points in the emergency survival toolkit? List them as bullet points. So let's see what it does. So as you can see, it puts up a nice little search criteria here, like a bar in blue. And here comes back with the answer. And another cool thing is it gives you follow-up questions and also where it found the information. So when I click in here, it opens the actual document and highlights where it found it in the document and came back with the answer and some of these things here. And you can also do follow-up questions here. Another thing I can do is ask a separate question. So let's try that. So for example, summarize the main points in the GPS document, please. Let's rewrite this sentence. Okay, so now let's run this. Okay, click it, and let's see what it does. So this mini model is not really that mini. It's pretty robust. So it's pretty good. So it's running against these models are really the GitHub models I'm running right now. So as you can see, it builds up the answers here, and it gives you locations where it found it. So now, just for good measure, let's try a couple of more questions here, and then I'll switch over to another project so you can see how Ollama looks. So as you can see here now, I'm asking what are some of the pros and cons of the Trailmaster GPS product. So as you can see here, it gives you this information right here, because I noticed this was like a product inside here that had Trailmaster, I think it was called. So yeah, I can't find it right now. But basically, you can open up these documents and look at them. If you have really lengthy documents, it might not be a good idea to try to index everything at once when you create your own models. Okay, the final question then for this particular app I'm going to ask is this one. Where is the GPS data stored and what operating system is being used? Okay, so now it's going to go dig into that information again. As you can see here, the Trailmaster GPS watch is stored in 4 gigabytes of internal memory. And it also tells you kind of operating system it uses and so forth. So it's kind of nice how it actually comes back with decent answers. And this is running right in Visual Studio right now. So let's stop this and go into the other projects. I can just highlight a couple of things. Okay, so I open up this now and notice in the chat Razor page, which in the programs page, as you can see here, I have open. You can see right here the Llama 3.2 model is being used because that's the one I downloaded and ran for this. And then I have this, the embeddings generator. It came with this. So once you have this installed on your computer, you download it from the Ollama. You run the Ollama application actually, and I created another video a couple of videos back where I showed you how to use the Ollama. So make sure you check that out with Docker and so forth. Here we simply have the Ollama installed on the computer, and therefore I downloaded this, loaded this model into my computer, and then these embeddings. So once you've done that, you should be good to go. Now this takes a while because it's running locally, as you can see, on this computer running locally. So it runs slower than the other models when you call them on the GitHub and so forth. If you look here, this is what it will look like. This is my Ollama chat, and I uploaded some Oracle documentation for data warehouse, as you can see, and a SQL Plus user's guide for reference. So this one here is a little different. So what I can do here, let me try a question and see if it actually gives me an answer back. So I'm saying, show me an example of how to use the match clause. So hopefully it goes into this match recognize clause. Let me write the word recognize clause. Let's see what it does. I don't know if it's even going to find the information here. When I loaded this document, it took a long time for it to index it because it's locally run, and then for all the tokenization happen as it ingests this. So as you can see, it's hanging and hanging. So let's go look at the code while it's running this stuff. It's a little slow. It has this ingestion folder, as you can see down here. So if I make it a little bigger here, you can see ingestion. And these guys will load the information from your supplied data folder, meaning whenever you load a new PDF and so forth, it will start tokenizing and building this, embeddings and so forth. Actually, it has the embedding here, but it will try to ingest it in so you can ask questions against it. I have mixed results with this stuff. I mean, the regular models that I showed you in the other project work much, much better. All right, so if I looked at my screen now, it came back, but it sure took a long time. And you can see here, it comes back with some information about the match recognize clause, but it doesn't show any reference to the actual document that I loaded here. Now, I'm not so sure how this works. And again, it's in beta, and I will have to play around with it much more. But if you used those GitHub models, etc. stuff, it should be probably working fine. Now, when you work this DeepSeek locally and the Llama 3.2 model in this case, I don't know if you have to do something extra here with all the actual documentation, because some of these documents are fairly large, the Oracle documentation. So I'll leave that up to you. I just want to introduce the templates, the AI templates from Microsoft. So I'll give you a first introduction to them, and you can start playing with it yourself. Okay, I hope you liked this video, and if you do, give me a like and consider subscribing to my channel. That would be great. See you next time in the next video. Take care.